Hello guys! Today is another video na naman. In this vlog, we Group 1 are going to share our own understanding about 3 types of rocks. So guys, are you ready? Let's go!
Sedimentary, igneous, and metamorphic are the 3 main categories into which rocks are typically categorized based on the processes that led to their formation. These rocks are all products of physical processes that are a component of the rock cycle, such as melting, cooling, eroding, compacting, or deforming. Rock deep inside the earth melts, forming igneous rocks. Sand, silt, dead plants, and animal bones accumulate in layers to form sedimentary rocks, rocks that have undergone metamorphic alteration as a result of heat and pressure underground.
My own understanding about 3 types of rocks. These are the igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, and metamorphic rocks. These rocks can be formed in many ways, including being erupted from volcanoes or compacted from sand.
Based on my understanding in our previous lesson, rocks are divided into 3 groups. First, we have the igneous rocks. Second, the sedimentary rocks. And the last one is the metamorphic rocks. The igneous rocks are formed by crystallization from molten or partially material called magma. The sedimentary rocks are formed from the material that has accumulated on the Earth's surface. And the metamorphic rocks are formed when the sedimentary rock or igneous rocks is exposed to high pressure, high temperature, or both deep below the surface of the Earth. As we all know, these 3 said rock minerals are very important in our society because they are the one who provide well-constructed roads, tall buildings, and houses to shelter on. In short, without these 3 things, we can't have a well-developed country because without having this kind of minerals, we can't have strong and beautiful buildings to see and visit in our country and even in the other countries.
In my own perception about the 3 types of rocks is the first one is sedimentary rocks, is formed from particles of sand, shells, pebbles, and other pieces of material. If you break apart a rock, the small pieces of dust from the rock become sediment. Second one is metamorphic rocks are formed under the surface of the earth. If your countertop is made of a metamorphic rock, you can even tell your friends that your countertop took millions of years to form. Last one is igneous rocks, formed when magma cools and hardens. The magma can derive from partial melts of existing rocks in either a planet's mantle or crust.
Metamorphic rocks started out as some other type of range from their original igneous, sedimentary, or earlier metamorphic form. Metamorphic rocks form when rocks are subjected to high heat and high pressure.
My understanding about this is that even you are not aware or not interested in volcanoes, there's really processes happening after the volcano erupts. These 3 types of rock is the evidence on that matter. First is the igneous rock, where it has 2 types, the intrusive and the extrusive. Next is the sedimentary rock that's originated when particles settle out of water or air or by precipitation of minerals from water. And lastly is the metamorphic rock. It is result when existing rocks are changed by heat, pressure. And that's all that I understand, and I thank you.
I am extremely happy because I learned the 3 types of rocks and how they form. I learned that the igneous rocks form when molten rock cools and solidifies. Sedimentary rocks arise either by the precipitation of particles from water or air or by precipitation of minerals from water. The metamorphic rocks are formed when extreme heat, pressure, and chemical reactions transform other rocks into new forms. I also learned that igneous rocks have two types, which are the intrusive rocks and extrusive rocks. Intrusive rocks cools from magma and it has a big crystals. And the extrusive rocks cools from lava and it has small crystals, and sometimes it has no crystals because it cools rapidly. Most of these rocks came from volcanic eruptions, and each of these rocks is the result of physical change such as melting, cooling, or compacting that are part of rock cycle.
My understanding about these three types of rock are they have different hardness, shape, and color, which you can identify what kind of rock is that. But there are many processes to form those rocks. Like igneous rock are formed by melting, cooling, and crystallization. Sedimentary rock are formed by weathering, erosion, sedimentation, and compaction. And the last one is metamorphic rock. Metamorphic rock formed by metamorphism, a process that changes pre-existing rocks into new forms because of increases in temperature, pressure, and chemically active fluids.
Igneous rock texture is controlled by the rate of cooling. Magma that cools slowly deep in the earth forms rock with large crystals, and lava that cools quickly on the surface forms fine-grained rock. Sedimentary rocks are made up of pieces of older rocks. When rocks break apart from erosion, they are transported by rivers and streams to lakes and oceans. Metamorphic rock always starts as another kind of rock, usually sedimentary rock. When the igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic rock undergo immense pressure and heat, the shape of the rocks change.
So there are three main types of rocks. These are sedimentary rock, igneous rock, and metamorphic rock. The sedimentary rock forms when a small particles known as sediment build up layer upon layer, and pressure causes them to compress and cement together over time. While in the igneous rock forms when hot liquid rock called magma cools. When the magma cools below the Earth's surface, it cools slowly, forming large crystals, and is known as an intrusive igneous rock. And the metamorphic rock has been changed by heat and pressure. If igneous, sedimentary, or other metamorphic rocks are exposed to elevated heat and pressure, they will change form. This process does not melt the rock, but changes the rock by growing new crystals from the original composition of the rock. That's all, thank you.
I have learned that the processes of the rock cycle, such as metamorphism, melting and solidification, weathering, erosion, deposition, and burial, are responsible for the constant recycling of rocks on Earth between sedimentary, igneous, and metamorphic rocks.
Understanding the three types of rocks, which are the igneous rock, sedimentary, and the metamorphic. We all know that igneous rock is the rocks made when molten magma cools, when sedimentary rocks are formed pre-existing rocks of pieces. And the last one is the metamorphic. Metamorphic rocks which comes from heat and pressure. So it was very exciting and happy that I learned these types of rocks, which is the igneous, sedimentary, and the metamorphic.
So my understanding about the three types of rocks, which is igneous rock, the sedimentary rocks, and also the metamorphic rocks. So the igneous rock are formed from hot molten that cools and solidifies igneous rock and may form from magma which is found inside the earth or lava. And there are two types of igneous rock, which is intrusive and extrusive. Then next is the sedimentary rock. Sedimentary rock are formed from pre-existing rocks or pieces of once living organisms. And also the metamorphic rock are formed when rocks are subjected to high heat and high pressures. That's all.
In my own understanding about the three categories of rocks is that igneous rocks form from hardening and crystallization of magma or molten materials which originates deep within the earth. Sedimentary rocks are those rocks made up of other rocks, and the metamorphic rocks form when sedimentary, igneous, or other metamorphic rocks are subjected to heat and pressure.
I totally understand why the three types of rocks, which are igneous rock that form by cooling and solidification of magma, metamorphic rock that form by the process called metamorphism, and the sedimentary rock that form by the process called lithification, are important. It is because igneous rock have a wide variety of uses. One important use is as stone for buildings and statues that we always see everywhere. There are two main categories of igneous rock, the extrusive and intrusive. Sedimentary rock are used as building stones, although they are not as hard as igneous or metamorphic rocks. Erosion and weathering includes the effects of wind and rain, which slowly break down large rocks into smaller ones. Sand and gravel are used to make concrete. They are also used in asphalt. Many economically valuable resources come from sedimentary rock that help us in different aspects of our lives. Metamorphic rocks are almost always harder than sedimentary rocks. They are generally as hard and sometimes harder than igneous rocks. They are used for building materials and artworks and used for making statues and decorative material. In this way, these rocks help commercially. Overall, these three types of rock are important to build monuments, buildings, and statues and can be used to build tourist spots.